Good evening. I'm Ali Furqan, and this is The Pivot. Sometimes the biggest diplomatic message is not delivered through a speech, it is delivered through an empty chair. Yesterday, the foreign ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization gathered for their ministerial meeting. Pakistan's foreign minister was there, China's foreign minister was there, Russia, the Central Asian Republic, Iran, and other member states were represented at the highest diplomatic level. But one country chose a different path: India. Foreign Minister Jaishankar did not attend. Instead, New Delhi sent a Minister of State. The question is why? Was it simply a scheduling conflict? Or does it reflect a much bigger shift in India's foreign policy? Let's connect the dots. Only days earlier, Jaishankar was actively participating in ASEAN meetings. He was present at Quad's engagement. India's diplomatic calendar shows where its priorities lie. When it comes to the Quad, or what New Delhi calls the Indo Pacific, the foreign minister makes time. But when it comes to the SCO, one of Eurasia's most influential organizations, India lowers its level of representation. Diplomacy works through signals. Sometimes attendance is the signal. Now consider the timing. India says its relations with China are improving. After months of tensions, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with President Xi Jinping. Officials from both countries speak of stabilization. Jaishankar himself has repeatedly said that India-China relations are gradually improving. If that is true, then another question arises. If relations are becoming better, why is India reducing its political engagement with an organization where China plays a central role? Perhaps this is not about China alone. Perhaps this is about India's changing strategic priorities. Today's India appears increasingly focused on the Quad, on security partnerships, on maritime strategy, on what New Delhi calls the Indo Pacific. While the SCO looks westward, towards Eurasia, regional connectivity, continental trade, energy cooperation, security coordination. Two different visions, two different priorities. But is this the first time? Not really. Look at SAARC. The organization was created to unite South Asia, to promote trade, connectivity, regional cooperation. The turning point came in 2016. SAARC summit was scheduled in Islamabad. India announced it would not attend, and the summit was cancelled. Since then, SAARC has never held another leaders' summit. Nearly a decade later, South Asia's largest regional organization remains practically frozen. Many analysts argue that India's decision effectively brought SAARC to a standstill. But history never waits. When one platform stops functioning, new ideas emerge. Today, there are increasing discussions about alternative regional arrangements. Pakistan, China, and increasingly Bangladesh are exploring new economic and connectivity initiatives. The question is, if South Asia eventually develops a regional framework without India, will New Delhi be comfortable watching from the sidelines? Now look at BRICS. India remains an important member, but inside BRICS, New Delhi has often preferred a cautious approach. On financial reforms, on institutional expansion, and on discussions about reducing dependence on the US dollar. Supporters argue India is protecting its strategic autonomy. Critics argue its caution was slowed some of BRICS' long-term ambitions. Now comes the SCO. India has consistently expressed reservations about major connectivity projects, especially those linked to China's Belt and Road initiatives. Yet, Regional connectivity is one of SCO's founding objectives. So, another question emerges. Can a country shape an organization if it remains hesitant about some of its most important initiatives? And another question. How long will other members accept that approach? Especially China, the organization's most influential player. Will Beijing continue accepting a member that increasingly appears politically distant from the organization's long-term vision? Now step back and look at the bigger picture. Three organizations, three different stories: SAARC, BRICS, the SCO. Different histories, different memberships, different objectives, yet perhaps one common pattern. India appears increasingly selective about the multilateral institutions it wants to invest in. If an organization advances India's priorities, New Delhi is fully engaged. If an organization moves in a different, India finds uncomfortable. Its engagements appears more cautious. They may be a legitimate policy choice. Every sovereign nation has that right, but every strategic choice also has strategic consequences. If India gradually reduces its political investment in regional organizations, will those organizations simply stop functioning? History suggests probably not. History suggests they adapt, they evolve, they find new leadership, and perhaps new centers of gravity. There is even bigger story. For decades, India's foreign policy was guided by certain principles: non-alignment, strategic autonomy, regional leadership, multilateral diplomacy. India wanted to sit at every important table, to shape every important conversation. That was the philosophy of independent India's diplomacy. But today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has adopted a different style. More bilateral diplomacy, more strategic partnership, greater emphasis on security coalitions, less enthusiasm for some regional institutions. Has India modernized its foreign policy, or is it gradually narrowing its diplomatic options? Every country has the sovereign right to choose its priorities. No country can participate equally in every organization. But there is one lesson history repeatedly teaches. When countries step back from regional institutions, those institutions do not always disappear. Sometimes they simply move forward without them. Today, India appears less invested in SAARC, increasingly cautious inside BRICS, and now its representation at the SCO has also been downgraded. Coincidence or a constant pattern? New Delhi knows the answer, but one thing is already clear. Diplomacy is not only about the meetings you attend, it is also about the meetings you choose to miss. And sometimes an empty chair can say more than 1,000 words. I'm Furqan, and this was The Pivot.